puesto del gobernador, efectivo el viernes 2 de agosto del 2019, a las 5 de la tarde. Estos días estaré atendiendo asuntos pendientes que viabilicen una transición ordenada. A esa hora...
Hoy es noticia principal en diversos diarios. El Nuevo Día eligió la siguiente portada con la imagen de Rosselló. Lourdes Hurtado ha estado en la Isla del Encanto.
¿Por qué fuiste mencionado y qué tuviste que ver con este caso de Felix Verdejo?
On April 30th, 2021, Edwin Prado gives a chilling phone call to the former governor Ricardo Rosselló. The story Edwin Prado would sail to Rosselló is the story that was put together in his office with the real stars of this story. Miguel Santiago, his daughter Elise Marie, the murder suspect Luis Cadiz, his brother Ricardo Cadiz, and Edwin Prado's good friend, a federal prosecutor from New York.
Al otro día, hablo con el gobierno federal, con un fiscal particular, amigo mío, jefe de una división. Ese fiscal me dice, me llama como a una hora y me dice, hay interés para asumir jurisdicción.
The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office worked in close collaboration with the Puerto Rico Police Bureau and the Puerto Rico Department of Justice in this case. The case is being prosecuted by Assistant United States Attorney Jonathan Gottfried, Chief of the Violent Crimes and National Security Section at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Felix Verdejo protested in 2019 for Ricardo Rosselló to step down as governor of Puerto Rico. Edwin Prado legally advised for Rosselló to step down, but this is not a step down and we stay quiet. This is a step down and any chance we get, we will shut Felix Verdejo down. Rosselló lined up his circle and gave the current governor a call, Pedro Rafael Pierluisi, and to make sure Verdejo is found guilty at all cost. Pierluisi assigned his good friend, a federal judge with little to none experience in criminal cases, by the name of Pedro Hernandez Delgado. Judge Pedro Delgado rejected the arguments of Verdejo's defense that exposing the case in the media and social networks prevents him from having a fair trial. Jury selection began on June 20th at the federal court in Hato Rey. Taking into account the totality of the circumstances, a change of jurisdiction is not necessary to safeguard the defendant's right to a fair and impartial trial, Delgado ruled. There is no extreme or blatantly prejudicial information that would give rise to a presumption of prejudice of the kind found in cases where pre-trial publicity was deemed adequate for that change of venue conclusion. The best example is a photo that was published after the arrest of Verdejo Sanchez. Someone created and published on social networks. A photographic montage of a security camera from the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge on April 29, 2021, the day of Rodríguez Ortiz's disappearance, pointed out the former boxer's defense. After including the image in the motion, it details that its publication on social networks included a red circle indicating that it supposedly identified Verdejo Sanchez getting out of the vehicle and throwing Keishla Rodriguez Ortiz from the bridge into the water. However, the photo is false. It is nothing more than a montage. See. Re-aided with the sole purpose of damaging the image of Verdejo Sanchez, damaging his character and creating unfair animosity among the public. He added, to demonstrate that the photo is not real, the motion includes a photo in color and with better resolution, with the date of the mentioned day, highlighting that unlike the other, that day, there were no flags on the bridge's poles in question, nor were there any banners on the poles either. With an extensive list of examples collected from various media platforms, the lawyer argued that the exposure has led to an unusual intensity of anger in Puerto Rico towards the defendant, inflaming passions in the community beyond the breaking point and solidifying the prejudice beyond the break. However, the judge pointed out that the examples in the defense motion on journalistic coverage show images of public events related to the case of the disappearance of Rodríguez Ortiz and the subsequent investigation. It also noted that the alleged facts date back approximately 2 years and noted that the publication of journalistic reports has decreased significantly over time.
Hay que mover el caso fuera de la jurisdicción de Puerto Rico, prácticamente indicando que es imposible que el señor Félix Verdejo pueda tener un juicio justo e imparcial, como es un deber y es un derecho constitucional que tiene una persona acusada de delito.
Va a permitir tener un jurado justo e imparcial, tratando de explicarle al tribunal que no hay manera de que en Puerto Rico se pueda ver este caso y que tanto la víctima como el acusado tengan un juicio justo. El problema es que Félix era una figura pública antes de que fuese acusado y era altamente conocido en Puerto Rico y fuera de Puerto Rico, y la publicidad que generó este incidente antes, durante y después de los hechos, pues ha sido tan y tan abrumador que es bien poco probable que yo pueda escoger un jurado con algunas personas que no tengan conocimiento de los hechos. De hecho, van más de 2 años. Ayer se radicó la moción y si vas a la prensa hoy, los comentarios son enormes y el odio es palpable en el público, y la verdad es que no entienden cómo es el proceso y cómo es que se le debe permitir tanto a la víctima tener su día en corte como al acusado de que se le presuma inocente hasta que el fiscal pueda probarle el caso más allá de razonable, si es que lo puede hacer.
En la esfera federal existe esa misma reglamentación.
Sí, y en la estatal también. Lo que pasa es que en un caso como este, como la publicidad ha sido tan y tan excesiva, no hay manera de que en Puerto Rico los pares puedan juzgarlo sin que tomen en consideración algún tipo de información que hayan escuchado. La ley lo que nos permite es solicitar un change of venue, que es un cambio de jurisdicción, para que podamos ir a un estado dentro del primer circuito donde podamos escoger un jurado que no tenga conocimiento de los hechos del caso y tenga una opinión formada. Y eso es lo que le estamos pidiendo. Transfiera el juicio, permítanos escoger un jurado imparcial, y el Ministerio Público va a tener la oportunidad de presentar su prueba, y el jurado pues podrá, libre de cualquier influencia mediática, hacer su determinación.
The Honorable Judge Pedro Hernández Delgado denied to move the venue, stating that the media did not influence the jurors of the case in the span of 2 years before the trial had begun. But if we break down what the media did say, we can see it's not what they reported, it's what they promoted. The lawyer Edwin Prado made the first call to Ricardo Rosselló. Rosselló called the current governor Pedro Pierluisi, and while the governor assigned the judge to the case. On the back end, Ricardo Rosselló had his lawyer Roxana Soto do a live on Facebook. The hard part of lying is that you have to make sure everyone sticks to the same lie.
Felix Verdejo se encontró con Keishla, que ella se bajó de su vehículo. Se encuentran, según habían acordado.
Decide bajarse para encontrarse con el boxeador Felix Verdejo luego de una cita que ya habían acordado.
Ella se baja de su vehículo y se monta en la Dodge Durango negra, el vehículo de él. Él estaba solo.
Y cuando llega al interior del vehículo se encontraba como conductor Felix Verdejo, ella como pasajero, y en la parte de atrás del vehículo se encontraba el compinche que lo estuvo ayudando a cometer este crimen.
Luego él solicita ayuda a un varón, porque la declaración habla de que el testigo que está cooperando con la Fiscalía Federal es un varón. No lo identifican como una fémina, lo identifican como un varón.
As you can see, to put a story together was a bit shaky. Roxana Soto, the lawyer and personal friend of Ricardo Rosselló, had a story that would later change by the media, Roxana was not reporting what happened to the victim. Roxana was simply starting to promote the story that was created in the office of Edwin Prado. Roxana was set to burn the name of Felix Verdejo to the ground and save Elise Marie, because that's what Miguel paid Prado to do. Verdejo was advised to turn himself in by his lawyers due to the fact that Felix Verdejo was about to be blamed for the murder. So, why did Roxana say Verdejo was alone? And the media reported that Verdejo was not alone. Why is it that Roxana had the story before the press? Why is it that Roxana would plead to the public that this was done by a male and not a female? These are the questions you would need to ask this man.
Florida Law, el programa que estabas esperando, conducido por el prominente abogado Edwin Prado.
Hablamos español en tu idioma, en Arroyo Habichuela.
Florida Law. Aquí se tocan los temas más relevantes que te pueden ayudar a una mejor calidad de vida. Semanalmente nos acompañan los mejores abogados de la Florida Central. Florida Law. Este sábado a las 9:30 de la noche por Mega TV Orlando. Creciendo como la diáspora.
No, you're not watching a paid program. What you just got done watching was a commercial for Edwin Prado by his employer, La Mega Orlando. Edwin Prado becomes president of the Puerto Rican Bar Association of Florida. Let's go back to the board. Ricardo Rosselló has his troops in line. Who does Edwin Prado have? Let's start with Tier 1, the media, that will use their platform to promote the theories brought to you by Edwin Prado, SBS, Spanish Broadcast System. Employees, Cobo Santa Rosa, Jorge Pabon, and Silvia Hernandez. Cobo Santa Rosa is a puppeteer, television producer, journalist, comedian, actor, and author from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. Santa Rosa produced and puppeteer in La Comay, the highest-rated TV show in the history of television in Puerto Rico. La Comay gossip show was under the network Mega TV. Jorge Pabon is a radio personality that worked on a radio show Moluscotv de la Punta that aired under the network La Mega. And I would like to introduce you to Silvia Hernandez, hired to report on the Felix Verdejo case by SBS, Spanish Broadcast System. Silvia Hernandez was the front line of all the journalists to report on Twitter DX, to then have a segments on Moluscos y los Reyes de la Punta. In fact, if we go a bit deeper, let's see who owns Mega TV. Yup, SBS, Spanish Broadcast System. Let's go as far as to say that SBS, Puerto Rico, La Mega, was the top viewed during March 2021 and April 2021. Highest recorded views of all time. So guess who made good money from these views? The employees of, you got it, the Spanish Broadcast System. Now let's see why it was the most viewed during March 2021 and April 2021. The judge, Pedro Delgado, says that the 2 years of media coverage did no damage to this case. In fact, Delgado believes that the media did not lie to the people and the future jurors of this case. Let's turn the clock back to April 2021. The script was set in the office of Edwin Prado. But to keep up with these lies in different shows can be a bit shaky, to the point where some would want a certain person to follow the game plan. Blame Verdejo, and make sure we all know to keep Elise Marie and her father out the story. A few stuck to the script, but it was hard to keep the one person that truly matters. The mother of the victim, Keishla Ortiz.
Verdejo mencionó que él no era culpable de este caso.
Facial expressions. The human face is extremely expressive, able to convey countless emotions without saying a word. And unlike some forms of nonverbal communication, facial expressions are universal. The facial expressions for happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, fear, and disgust are the same across cultures. It is important to pay close attention to every expression, movement, and tone when watching the mother of the victim speak. This expression was from the question, "How do you feel about Verdejo presuming himself innocent?" As you can see by the reaction. It does not translate into sadness, nor does it translate to anger. Perhaps this is the expression of, I know who was involved, and she will speak on this person loud and clear.
Yo recuerdo en el momento que yo la entrevisté mencionó a la esposa, a Elise, la esposa de Felix Verdejo. ¿Qué piensa usted sobre esto? Tenemos conocimiento que Keishla y Elise eran amigas de la infancia.
Sí, ellas eran amigas de la infancia, Y si ella está involucrada, va a pagar.
Que en algún momento la esposa de Verdejo se comunicaba con ustedes en el momento que Keishla estaba desaparecida, que ustedes estaban tratando de dar con su paradero.
Sí, sí.
¿Con quién se comunicaba? ¿Con usted?
Con Elise. Sí, sí. Ella siempre estuvo en contacto con mensajes de texto y eso está guardado. Y eso lo tiene Sí.
¿Y de qué forma se comunicaban? ¿Con síntomas como de preocupación? ¿Eso era lo que ella proyectaba, preocupación?
Sí, porque en los mensajes dice, apareció, ¿y qué ha pasado? ¿Me entiendes? Pero todo eso está guardado en un registro. Todo eso está guardado.
The question was clear, but the answer was loud and clear. The reporter asked if both Elise Marie and her daughter were friends. The answer was emphasized. When they were little, they were friends. They were not friends as adults. They grew up in the same environment. As they grew older, jealousy and envy would get in the way. To make things more clear, both Elise Marie and Keishla were fighting over Verdejo for 10 or 11 years. Verdejo is the godfather of Keishla's nephew, so the trust and love from the family towards Verdejo was there. Verdejo wanted a baby with Keishla, and it was clear that the love between Keishla and Felix was mutual. The next question was, has Elise Marie called you? Again, the answer are loud and clear. Yes, she checked on us, but by text messages. Emphasized, by text. The text would say, has she appeared? What's happening? Emphasized, you understand. The mother of the victim will then speak through the camera, meaning to Elise Marie, stating that these messages are saved. Who is receiving the messages? The sister of the victim, Elise.
En Puerto Rico con la Comay.
Así mismito es, Jan. Jan, mira, hay una cosa que yo no me explico. Tú sabes que toda persona que va a matar o asesinar a alguien, pues tratan de que no encuentren el cadáver, se esconden. En este caso, Verdejo se ha paseado por todo el área metropolitana con el cuerpo de la muchacha. Sí. Vuelvo y repito, no sé si estaba muerta. Yo dudo que haya estado muerta, eso lo dirá en medicina forense.
Pero ya le había dado el golpe y le había inyectado la supuesta droga.
Claro, entonces hay un sitio donde hay cámaras, o sea, no se meten a un pastizal ni nada, en el puente Teodoro Moscoso, donde pasan tantos y tantos carros. Entonces, fíjate que no queman el carro, lo llevan a un solar donde hay casas al frente que cualquiera pudo haber visto algo. Entonces, a plena luz del día. O sea, a plena luz del día. Sinceramente, no me explico por qué esto.
Y un crimen tan cruel. A plena luz del día.
Exacto.
Let's break this down a bit slower. According to Cobo Santa Rosa, this is Felix Verdejo. Driving in is his Dodge Durango on broad daylight, with Keishla in his car, to the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge. According to Cobo Santa Rosa, Keisha's vehicle was not burnt, but it was abandoned in a location Cobo did not name. According to the cameras at the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge, the first passing was at 8:41:24 in the morning. The documents missed the time by 31 seconds. The camera clocked in at 8:41:55 in the morning. As you can see, everything on the document seems to be blurred out, but the plate is as clear as day. Maybe that's a question we would want to ask Jonathan Gottfried. So since the Durango did multiple trips, let's take a look at the third passing. The third passing says 9:24:35 in the morning. The cameras clocked in perfectly at 9:24:35 in the morning. Moments later, the Durango would stop at 9:26:33 in the morning, only 2 minutes after the third crossing. And under the bridge, you will see what the media will paint as Felix Verdejo. Cobo Santa Rosa started the segment with displaying the route he would name, the death route. Showing the route, what he says is Felix Verdejo drove with the victim's body along with his accomplice.
Sucede. Vamos a ver a Ricardo Eladio. Mire lo que sucede.
La que conduce hacia el puente Teodoro Moscoso en dirección de la Valdoriotti de Castro. Y fue aquí en este espacio donde el compinche que acompañaba al boxeador Felix Verdejo dejó estacionado el vehículo de Keishla Rodriguez con las luces intermitentes. Ahí se monta con Felix Verdejo en el vehículo Dodge Durango color negro y salen en dirección hacia el puente Teodoro Moscoso, donde posteriormente disponen del cuerpo de la víctima.
According to Cobo, Keisha's vehicle was left on the entrance ramp of the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge. But let's see how much research Cobo and his team actually do. On the court papers, Ricardo Cadiz had said that he did not leave the car by the bridge. He left the car in Alto Rey, close to the corrections building. Interesting. Because if the victim's car was left in Alto Rey by the corrections office, we see no surveillance from that corrections office, nor anywhere nearby. But we get to that in just a bit.
Ahí sale, se monta, ve, y imagínense que esa es la guagua de Felix Verdejo, y ahí entonces va Keishla totalmente aturdida, no sabemos si estaba muerta, pero ahí, miren dónde se va a detener. Ahí fue que se detuvo Verdejo.
Y fue aquí en este punto del puente Teodoro Moscoso donde el boxeador Felix Verdejo y compañías de su compinche se bajan del vehículo y se aseguran que nadie estuviese pendiente a la fechoría que ellos iban a cometer. Por eso miran a ambos lados del puente Teodoro Moscoso, se aseguran que ningún conductor los estuviese observando, y en lo que se desarrollaba esa discusión no se percataron que había una cámara de seguridad que captaba cada detalle de lo que ellos hacían en este lugar.
Señoras y señores,
increíble.
Óigame bien, lo que Verdejo y su compinche no se dieron cuenta es que allí, Jan, en todo ese puente hay unas cámaras súper potentes. Claro. Le llaman, estas cámaras son como unas cámaras de seguridad PTZ. O sea, P de papá, T de Tomás, Z.
Que graba todo.
Graba todo.
Perfecto.
The Teodoro Moscoso Bridge is a tolled 1.4-mile limited access segment of PR 17, connecting San Juan with the area of Isla Verde in Carolina, over the San Jose Lagoon. The bridge connects Luis Muñoz Marin International Airport and PR 26 in the north to PR 181 south of the San Jose Lagoon. The bridge has 2 lanes in each direction with an emergency shoulder on each side. The southern end of the bridge is wider to accommodate 10 toll lanes. The toll plaza, from its inception, accepts a variety of payment methods including cash, credit card, and tag electronic pass system. Let's take a deep dive into the camera on the Teodoro Bridge. Monitoring large areas. PTZ cameras are designed to cover very large areas such as farms, malls, parking lots, etc. Its ability to pan, tilt, and zoom allows it to cover far more space than a traditional fixed camera. Typically, these cameras are used to survey an area that would be too expensive or impossible to cover with fixed cameras. What you're looking at here is the PTZ camera at work. This is the camera that is used at the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge. A PTZ camera can have a range of up to 300 feet, 91 meters, for clear identification, and up to 1,000 feet, 305 meters, for detection purposes. Some high-end PTZ cameras can have a range of up to 5,000 feet, 1,524 meters, with advanced zoom and lens technology. Let's take you back to April 29th. On April 29, 2021, the Durango entered the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge for what they say was the 3rd time. At 9:24 a.m., entering the bridge, there are 2 cameras. 1, 2. Camera 1 is at 200 feet away from the Durango, and camera 2 would be 2 feet to 200 feet away. So why use the camera that is furthest away? Why don't we see anything from camera 2? Like Cobo Santa Rosa said in his program, PTZ is the best camera in the world. And how good is the PTZ camera? Good enough to not have a single blurry shot of the Durango. PTZ camera can read a license plate 800 feet away, but 200 feet away, we get these pictures from Jonathan Leone. Sorry, Jonathan Godfrey. They call you Leone in New York and Godfrey in Puerto Rico. Interesting. But we will get to that, because I have a few questions to ask you. As the Durango moved forward, it stops and the camera quality seems to be too blurry to say the least. This would be when the victim's body was launched. According to Roxana, Verdejo jumped off the bridge and appeared 200 feet away underneath the Teodoro Moscoso Bridge. And like Sylvia Hernandez said, this is Felix Verdejo. Let's take a look at the camera at work. What you're looking at here is a footage of a car accident. The victim so happens to be the brother of a popular music artist in Puerto Rico. Forget the fact that he is famous. Now let's focus on the fact that this camera would have shown everything from April 29, 2021. But for some reason, the friend of Edwin Prado, the prosecutor from New York, Mr. Leone, does not want to show the footage from this camera, but would rather show footage from a camera 200 feet away. So the question is in the air. Was it really Felix Verdejo? All of Puerto Rico would like to know. Is there something to hide? The lawyer and personal friend of the ex-governor Rosselló had the story set before the press, to then the media running with the story and pointing at Felix to be the suspect. So if everything Roxana and all of the media are saying is true, then the people would like to see a concrete evidence to the story Roxana had said. Verdejo took the victim out the car and threw her off the bridge. This camera would have shown it all. If Verdejo shot at the victim from the bridge, we would see it clearly. But why don't we? Why don't we see Felix jumping off the bridge? Oh, that's right. The star witness had made you all to be liars and said he was the one who shot at the victim. We heard the talks of the Durango passing through the bridge, and we also heard the promotion across all platforms. So, is this Felix Verdejo? Or does he look too light? Or maybe a bit heavy? It's fair for the American people to have a say in this case. The future jurors of the new trial in Boston. Take your time and really look at the pictures. Was justice done, or is this a serious case of no face, no case?